Ja. Ja, papa het gebel, hulle wag vir jou. Hulle daar sit.
A familiar crisis in the Gerd household. Milani is feeling dizzy. Her heart races wildly. Sadly, this is no isolated incident. Milani has been rushed to hospital 40 times this year, 15 more than last year. In her present condition, every step that she takes requires a helping hand and great effort. A shock to Milani's system immediately jerks the heart rhythm back to normal. But there's a downside. Each succeeding treatment makes her heart weaker and may even be fatal. This is Klerksdorp, a small town southwest of Johannesburg in South Africa. The business of Klerksdorp is mining, gold mining. Open spaces, sunshine, trees. It's a pleasant place to live. 21 Radloff Street. It's the home of the Gerd family. Family meals in the garden are a bonus of Klerksdorp life. In summer, it's good to be able to unwind around the table and entertain the neighbors. Milani is the eldest of the children still at home. Christopher is 1 year behind her. And then there is young Trevor. Eldest brother Monty is studying abroad.
Geef my gou daar 'n koekvurkie asseblief.
Is daar nog melk?
Dankie. Ja, so pad.
The Gerd's home language is Afrikaans, one of the many languages heard on Klerksdorp streets. Trevor Gerd supplies fruit and vegetables to the mines.
Ja, vat so 20 pallette, dankie.
His wife Mareka teaches at a local primary school. The Gerds are just a normal family. A normal family. This is where their extraordinary story begins.
When she was about 13 days old, and she went into heart failure, we charged through to Pretoria with her in an ambulance. She was there for a week or two. They couldn't actually pinpoint exactly what was going on, and after 2 weeks or so, they said, she seems to be fine, and we went home. It really re-manifested itself when she was about 13 years old. And that's when things really started going wrong, very wrong.
Well, I started becoming really tired and I had this rash on my skin. We went to a dermatologist. She took a biopsy and she said, no, there's definitely something wrong with his blood. Looks like an old man who's been smoking for 85 years. And that's how I ended up with Kenny.
It was a bit of an unusual referral, with her having first seen a dermatologist. There were lots of confounding problems with her at the time because of the skin rash, her high hemoglobin count, and her cardiac findings. And it was very difficult to fit everything into a single basket in terms of what the problem was. And it was over time and the long period of follow-up that things became apparent as to what her condition was. We then made the diagnosis of ARVD, arrhythmogenic right ventricular dysplasia.
The condition itself, in a sense, it's a muscle that just disintegrates, the heart muscle. It's patches everywhere. The heart muscle has just disappeared and is being replaced by a fatty tissue. How it happens, where it comes from, I don't think they really know more about the ARVD situation and sickness and disease than they knew 30, 40 or 50 years ago. She eventually had an operation when she was about 15 years old, and during that operation they tried to reconstruct the right side of her heart, which has been her saving grace since then.
I think you became used to it. It's 8 years now, and you learn to live with it. I think the meaning of living from day to day is what really matters. You can't plan ahead, and you have to take every day, every hour, like it comes.
I don't put my cell phone off while I'm on the golf course because I'm scared something could happen or go wrong, and I want to go and be there for my kids. It's something you never get used to, you just learn how to handle it.
ARVD, a rare hereditary disease that nobody knows enough about.
Good shot.
Genetically determined, it can strike at any moment.
A dad really wants to fix everything. That's what dads are for. Dads are there to fix things that go wrong.
When I see my sister just lying in the bed or in the hospital, she's down and so tired. I can see she struggles very much.
Well, my life at the moment, it's almost boring except for the hospital. When I keep it exciting with the hospital. When I get bored, I go to hospital and get a shock, and then I come back home. I just have to go on. It's like I don't have a choice.
Dr. Kenny sat us down in Joburg and said, you know, now we can't do anything more. The only further step now is a transplant.
If my sister doesn't get a heart now, it's hard to say what would happen. Don't really know. It's difficult.
Yeah.
The Girds are on their way to Paarl. They're feeling cheerful because they're about to enjoy a pre-Christmas break with relations on a farm and winery. But the venue has another significance. Paarl is near Cape Town, the centre of heart transplant surgery in South Africa. It's an inescapable fact of life and death that there's more chance of a heart becoming available during the holiday season. There's a lake on the farm, and it's always been a favourite haunt of the Girds. Melanie leads the way and tries to stay cheerful. Though it's always a pleasure to renew acquaintance with a place that holds happy memories, it's increasingly her future that occupies her mind.
The whole right side of her heart, both the chambers, are non-contractile. They're just lying there and the muscle is completely disintegrated. It's not existent anymore.
Christmas is a time when you want to feel your best, but each day her condition is deteriorating. Her movements becoming more restricted. The threat of another attack never far away. Melanie needs all her courage to shake off despair.
It's not always easy, but just see the bright side of life. I've always got hope, because without hope, well, I've got nothing left without hope.
You know, you mustn't always think about the bad things. The last time when they told us she's got a clot in her heart and the doctors were terribly upset. Okay, and for about a week I was terribly upset. It's there and you can't do anything about it, so don't worry about it. I don't know. But I think it's important to be positive most of the time.
I never ever want to give up, and I won't give up. I pray to get a heart every day. I will have to.
I would like my two children to have hearts and live long ever after, but that's not necessarily how it will happen. Hi, sis, het jy dit gemaak? Moet nou nie te gly en rol nie.
Ja, ek is wel baie goed. Ek is daar opgesleep.
Okay, ek kan dit sien aan jou broek. Sit hier so.
Ja, gaan agteroor.
Nee, ek sal keer.
Dink nie wat 'n shot gaan dit wees as jy
Ja, ek is
agteroor val.
voel my vreeslik stewig. Gotten used to it, so it's really not a problem anymore. It's a, what do you call it? Challenge.
The Christian Barnard Memorial Hospital in Cape Town. Named after the South African surgeon who in 1967 performed the first history-making heart transplant operation. Friend and former pupil, Dr. Susan Vosloo, has inherited his legacy. Her mentor's achievement reverberated around the world and gave hope to cardiac sufferers everywhere.
Okay, eerst is hij 6 maanden oud, oukie.
Like Dr. Barnard, Dr. Vosloo is recognized as one of the world's foremost heart surgeons. She has performed 75 transplants and is renowned for her work on the hearts of young children, which include transplants and open heart surgery.
Dr. Susan Vosloo, I've done a bit of research, and I've realized that the success rate at their unit is, I suppose, close on best in the world at the moment. And I really believe that if a transplant must be done, it'll be done by that unit.
The Gurds have been seeing Dr. Vosloo for long enough to feel that their relationship is one of friendship rather than doctor and patient. The route that leads to her consulting rooms has become a familiar one. Dr. Vosloo, more than anyone, knows what they're going through. She has 10 patients waiting desperately for a heart on her transplant list.
En weet jy, laat nie net die koördinators weet nie, veral vir Melanie is ons baie angstig om iets te kry. En ek dink op die stadium is Melanie se toestand sodat sy is ons hoogste prioriteit. Melanie was born with an abnormal right ventricular wall. Not only is the heart muscle weakened and unable to pump correctly, it also is irritable, so that she suffers from episodes of abnormal rhythm that causes poor circulation. Enige mediese probleme behalwe die hart? Sometimes it's necessary that she has a cardioversion or a shock to bring the heart back to a normal or more acceptable rhythm. There is a chance with each of these episodes that she may die, and it's absolutely crucial for her to have a heart as soon as possible. Wil jy daar uitkry en nou moet ons net ons duime vashou. Jy weet 'n mens kan nie so ongelukkig wees soos ons met jou is vir so lank as wat dit nou al aangaan nie.
Waiting, waiting, waiting. It's all the Gurds can do. A prison sentence without an end, except death.
I get frustrated, I get cross, there's a stack of emotions you go through as a parent. But at the end of the day, it's something you have to accept and tackle those parts of the disease that you can do something about. The road gets rough sometimes, very rough.
The Gurds return home without a heart.
You always answer the phone with a bit of uneasiness and also with a certain amount of expectation. But it's not easy sitting and waiting for that phone to ring because you want it to ring.
You want this call to come because it's a life-saving call and a call that can change her whole life. So every time you see it's a 012 number, you think maybe this time it is it. But, well, up to now it wasn't.
Transplant office, hello. Okay, first of all, what sort of age is the patient? Okay, is their family available? Are their family around?
December the 22nd, a call comes through that the Gurds will remember all their lives. A heart has been found. The airport is a 2-hour drive from Klerksdorp, and by the time the family get there, it's 10 a.m. The news has given Melanie a new lease in life. It's difficult to recognize the girl of a few weeks ago. Brothers Christopher and Monty are both abroad and have to miss this big moment. The Gurds must get to the hospital as soon as possible. But it's not going to be easy. There has been no time to make reservations, and on the last Friday before Christmas, every flight to Cape Town is booked.
I'm not sure, but we're taking...
This is an emergency, and individual airlines and their staff are quickly alerted. Eventually, by appealing to the goodwill of passengers prepared to change flights, 1 hour later, 3 seats have been found. It's tough on Trevor Jr. because he will have to follow on a later flight. But that's easy to bear. His sister is going to have a new heart. As they are ushered along to the plane, Melanie is still on the phone to her friends. Family and friends have arrived to give support. It's good to see them, but hugs and kisses must do the talking. The Gurds have to press on. The heart still has to be removed from the donor body and brought to Cape Town. A long-term member of Dr. Vosloo's team is head of the recovery unit, heart surgeon Dr. Otto Tanning, a man with a distinguished pedigree. He was a respected member of Christian Barnard's transplant team. The Christian Barnard Memorial Hospital is drawing closer. Melanie's wait is nearly over. The recovery team is flying to George, a popular holiday coastal town. It's an hour's flight from Cape Town, unless the weather turns ugly. There is little time to spare. The recovery must be precisely synchronized with the preparations in Cape Town. As transplant manager, Alexia Michaelides plays a vital role in locating a suitable heart and obtaining consent from the donor's next of kin. She knows timing is of the essence.
When we're in a situation where we've got a donor out of town, it's a very different ball game. We talk about an ischemic time for the heart, and that literally is body to body, from when we clamp the heart in the donor, remove it, until we release the clamp in the recipient for blood flow through that heart. We've got 4.5 hours, body to body. It's a very short period of time. If you've got a 2-hour flight and you need 40 minutes to get to the airport, and you need 40 minutes on this side to get from the airport. So literally, it's timed per minute. We've got 3 minutes here, we've got 7 minutes there, and we literally time it like that. And obviously if the flight's delayed or things start going wrong, we've got a big problem.
Just as important as the transplant operation, so is the procedure to remove the donor heart. It must be in perfect condition. From the very start, Dr. Tanning subjects the heart to vigorous scrutiny. At every stage of the process, he keeps in touch with Dr. Vosloo in Cape Town.
Kilograms is reasonable, yes. She is very peripherally desaturated. On the thing, no, absolutely. I'm not trying to listen to that. The other thing is the estrogen.
Messages flood in as family and friends around the world react to the great news.
Okay. Bye. Melanie is Jaco, hy's terug in Engeland. Hy sê sterkte, geseënde Kersfees. Hy sê baie geluk met jou hart.
Well, I will do that, but I'm waiting for her to phone me. I don't know. But I will look at it.
Okay, ons is op pad.
Julle kan maar saamkom net.
You don't want to be on show, yeah. Take the limelight here from this young girl.
Die dokter.
Die dokter is daar.
Ek wil jou eintlik in die saal sien. Moet ek jou hier maar liewer sien?
Sien my maar asseblief.
Het jy 'n kamer in die saal?
Ja.
Okay, maar ek sê 'n kamer. Ek sal hier ingaan en praat ek hier met julle. Okay, kom ek praat hier met julle. Trek maar nie. Ag, hier staan niemand anders nie. Melanie. Ek het so van tussen 1 en 2 het hulle vir my gebel en hulle was nie 100% happy met die donor nie. So die vliegtuig was op pad om te ry. So ek het vir Otto gesê, ry maar, dan doen ons 'n paar toetsies om die hart te check. Vir haar het ons 'n hart nodig wat ons op kan staatmaak. So die donor het van 'n motorfiets afgeval en 'n hoofbesering, maar ook 'n bietjie kneusing aan die longe. Maar ons het gesê Otto gaan maar in elk geval kyk hoe lyk dit, kyk hoe is sy en dan kan ons besluit. Nou het ek met hom gepraat en ek is nie 100% happy om daai hart te gebruik nie. Ek sal liewer sê ons kan oor 'n maand terugkyk en sê ons het nou wel vandag 'n groot teleurstelling, maar ons mag oor 'n week iets anders hê. Ek gaan seker maar net slaap vat. Miskien met die chemo moet ek weet sê
With a disappointment like this, it's difficult to find the right words. In her present state, Melanie would probably not hear them anyway. The stress, the tension, the waiting must start all over again.
This heart was a heart from a young girl, and it would have suited Milani to the T. And that's the big disappointment at the moment. Oh, one of the most traumatic anticlimaxes in my whole life. I feel bad for my daughter. She's really, really, really disappointed. She'll make it. She'll carry herself through this. We'll carry her through it. I think we've all just got to get over all the excitement of the day and the serious disappointment at the end of the day. But I'm sure the right thing will happen at the right time. I'm very disappointed, but on the other hand, I'm glad that Dr. Vosloo has got the strict rules that she adheres to. And that's why I believe that when it does happen today, it's going to be the absolute best chance my child can have for a heart. Rather a disappointment today than trying to explain to me next week why my daughter is not there anymore. She'll get over this, but at the moment she's really down.
It was a huge disappointment for us. It was extremely difficult to share that with them, as there was a lot of excitement that a donor finally became available for her. But in principle, it's always better to have a disappointment like this than to have the disappointment of a bad outcome.
If there's no heart available, she will just weaken.
Christmas is over and Mareka must return to Klerksdorp for the new school term. Trevor Senior and Junior stay on with Milani in Cape Town. 14 days have passed since the Gerd's great disappointment, and Milani has had to return to hospital. Her condition has required another shock treatment. Her morale could not be lower. And then, against all odds and expectation, wonderful news. Another heart has been found.
Well, I came in early this morning for a cardioversion, and then after the cardioversion I was just waking up, eating, when Dr. Vosloo came in, and then she told me there was a heart for me again. And the diary is very stable, and it seems to be a really good match. So I'm excited.
Susan Vosloo said, I just want to go and tell Milani that we're going to do a heart transplant this evening. She could have just as well said, we're going shopping at Pick n Pay. And I said, what? I could have dropped dead.
I'm happy that we're here already, so there's no rush from Klerksdorp. And so I'm just waiting for something to happen now.
Yeah.
Milani is so upbeat that she hardly notices all the formalities that have to take place before the operation. A key member of the operating team looks in. Dr. Anton Ferreira, the anaesthetist, will not only be putting Milani to sleep, but monitoring her condition during every stage of an operation that could last over 8 hours.
Net die ultrasound. I've had open heart surgery before, so I'm not too nervous, and I've been waiting for this for 2 years, so it better happen now.
Hi.
No.
Stres.
Nee.
Wat ry dit dan?
Sala.
Liefie. Sy bly. Ja, goed. Dis verskriklik bly.
Dr. Tanning and his team are preparing to leave Cape Town to retrieve the new heart. The only plane available is small and propeller-driven. Along the coast, winds are strong, and this may slow down the emergency flight.
Hulle het gesê hulle sal jou nie afvat 9 tot mamma gekom het, okay?
Okay.
So jy kan maar slaap wees.
Ja, dat heeft mij goed ingeraakt. Ik heb mijn ogen bang niet. Ik heb het gekeken. Zo'n mors van tijd.
Toch moet ik hierbij zo'n kop.
Pre-op sedation has kicked in, and a drowsy Milani is scarcely aware of what is happening around her.
Ja, ik zal het net eens uitpassen. Of wat kan ik nog? Ik kan niet nadenken. Ik zal zo'n aandag mijn ouder in zitten.
Waar is die whisky vir haar?
Good news is travelling fast. Brothers Monty and Christopher are still abroad, but keep in touch. A little late, but always there, Mareka has flown in from Klerksdorp.
Fok.
Oh, hou mooi. Nou, ik heb het
By a strange coincidence, the team are flying back to George, the town that yielded the heart Dr. Tanning was forced to refuse 2 weeks earlier. There is growing concern as forecasts about the winds steadily worsen.
Sal 'n lang tyd wees.
For years, the Girds have prayed for this moment. But now that it has finally arrived, they find it difficult to let Milani go. The true significance of what is about to happen, what might happen, hits home. Dr. Tanning has made this kind of trip many times before, but always the same nagging fear remains. Not only must the recovery of the heart be a success, but will he get it to Cape Town in time? Seconds and minutes are vanishing like water into sand. The donor is brought into the operating room. A disturbing sight. Someone who appears to be alive and capable of being saved is in fact dead. Brain dead, yet body alive. Their vital organs intact and functioning normally. The heart is the life force of the human body. As it pumps blood around the system, so it feeds the brain, the lungs, the kidneys and the liver. Milani is going to have to exist without a heart until the new one is inserted and connected. In order for her to stay alive, each function of her old heart will have to be replicated, and the organs dependent upon it monitored and nurtured by a specialist member of Dr. Vosloo's team. Milani is now completely anaesthetized and ready for her operation. There is a disquieting jolt of premonition as we see her body being moved, seemingly devoid of life. The surgical instruments are laid out with military precision to an international format. Each piece, hand-forged, will have its own specialist part to play in the operation. Working alongside the surgeon, the assistant will be able to select whatever is required, almost without looking. The area where Dr. Vosloo will be working must be kept completely sterile throughout the operation. Even the anaesthetist must perform in isolation behind a green screen.
Where are we going now? Where do we go? In there. Is it... Oh boy. Nog niet. Can you put it up, please? Could I have some big swabs, please? Thank you.
Ek weet ons het nou 9:30 het Otto eers begin sny. So nou het ek rustig met die aand.
The crucial interchange of information with the heart transplant unit in Cape Town is underway.
Maybe different. That's perfect.
countdown has just begun.
There you go, you're right. Yeah, I'm just going to open the pericardium first. Just on my fingers, the easiest, just like that. Like that. Sorry?
Dr. Tanning has seen X-rays, but this is the moment of truth. When he cuts through the pericardium, the protective covering of the heart, this will be his first sight of it. Reassurance. The heart is beautiful.
Gently, gently, gently. Have you got a sterile extension, please?
Just go have a look at it.
Would you phone Susanne and tell her that we've opened the pericardium and everything looks very nice, although there's a lot of anterior bruising of the chest wall, which I think is tracked down. I don't think it's from injury.
Dr. Vosloo waits for confirmation of the heart's condition before she prepares to operate.
And alles lyk alright. Sê wat ek loop uit van die
Ek het alles gedoen.
Okay. So,
This like 22.
Die donus se hemoglobine is 'n bietjie laag. En die daar's 'n bietjie besering aan die linker skouer, maar nie die borskas self nie, maar ek dink dit is 'n groot ou. Ons het baie om te doen, so ons kan so lank die SVC diskonnekteer en al daai soort van gedoen. Ons het baie werk wat ons kan doen totdat hulle hier kom. Ek wil nie te gou begin het dat ons te lank op bypass is nie.
You can slow your volume down very slightly because we're sitting with good pressures. Pardon?
I'm like a plate, please. Cold water, please.
Milani's life will depend on what happens when Dr. Vosloo goes through that door.
Okay.
Been waiting for this for 2 years, so it better happen now.